And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Soc Talk. And today I thought it would be really interesting to talk to someone who's always been on the audience side, but has always been a music enthusiast. He's also studying in Pittsburgh right now. He's a computer science student, and we're currently shooting in different time zones. But we really did want to squeeze this into our schedules to get this episode out. So I'm joined by Shravan Narayan, and I think he can tell us a little more about himself.
Thank you so much, Kartika. Honestly, I was looking forward for this because I've been following up with all your episodes and everything that you're doing. And as a music enthusiast myself, if not a professional singer, I've always wanted a voice to talk about music and how it's influenced me or anyone for that fact. And I believe it's this point where it's the most apt to talk about that, especially because we've lost one of our biggest music idols that we both would idolize and we both just talk about day in and day out. So I believe this is the most right moment to talk about that. So I'm glad we're here. I'm glad there's gonna be more like a fanboy fangirl moment for us talking about our idol who's no longer with us.
Yeah, I think with very heavy hearts, we're gonna be celebrating the journey of SPB and all the work he's done and how he's transcended his capabilities of just a singer. And I think Shravan's also a huge fan. He's into movies and he also does stand-up comedy from time to time. So we have a really interesting list, and we have planned a bunch of things to talk about. So Shravan, tell me more about yourself. And I think you come from the same city. So how has the culture in Chennai influenced you? Taste of music or movies, or how has it been?
Let's say the culture of Chennai has influenced me to this extent where I believe that I'd be a disgrace if I didn't watch a Rajinikanth Talivar film first day first show. I believe that's the parameter that I've set for myself. And I believe at this point of time, especially talking about the culture and the fact that we're from the same city, we just can't ignore the fact that every Rajinikanth movie mandatorily has a song that's sung by SPB. And it's more often the intro song, but you also have other songs situational ones that are usually sung by him. And it's kind of funny, but the way I think about it, but the next movie of Rajinikanth that's gonna be out probably next year. I'm honestly glad that they recorded the song. They made SPB sing the song over the lockdown when he was fine.
Right.
And I'm so glad because he started his journey in 1970 or 80 with a lot of veteran actors, and Rajinikanth was someone that was a part of his life throughout the past 35 to 40 years. So the fact that he started off like that, and the fact that he's ending his musical career by singing a song for Talivar is just something. It's just something truly. It's just something beyond. It's just something beyond. They're just made for each other. That's what I believe. How seamlessly they blend in, and when we were young, we used to watch films like Chandramukhi, and those kind of films were the ones that we used to idolize. Chandramukhi, Shivaji, and those kind of movies. And it's just that his voice used to blend in with Rajinikanth's character so much that I legitimately thought that was Rajinikanth's voice when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I thought it was Rajinikanth singing the songs for himself. and the fact that they've just blended so well was just something truly amusing for me, even back then and even now, because I don't think there would be any other singer that would just suit for every situation, every actor, every movie possible. And that's what I believe truly makes him special and makes both of us, for that fact, huge fans of him.
Yeah, I think it's also not fair to limit him to the dynamic we spoke about Rajini and SPB. But I think for a very, very long time, just like how you said, you relate a person's character with their voice. I think he suited everyone for that matter. I think he suited Kamal in a lot of songs. I think he suited Rajinikanth. I think he suited Mohan. I think he suited Surya in Munpaniya. So there are a lot of songs, and I think also the new age songs which have been coming. And I think the most special thing, and there was also a post which was going viral right after his passing, which said, I think he recorded over 40,000 songs, and if you try to record one song for the next 20 years, you'll still end up with less than 20,000.
Yeah, because even I've read online that apparently he used to take 15 minutes to prep for a brand new song that spans for like 5 minutes. He used to take 15 minutes to prep for that song, and he used to record it for like 10, 15 minutes, and then he used to move on to the next song. That's honestly insane because even like let's say you want to sing an Instagram cover of like say a 45-second bit. I'm sure you would prep for that for over like 3 or 4 hours trying to match different guitar strings. So that it's just insane how a person back then, especially when like the audio technology used to be like not as good as it is right now. So at that point of time, it's just insane how a man used to like record like even 5 or 6 songs in a day for an average of like 20 years. It's just beyond comprehension for me.
Yeah, I think you were also telling me about how Rajnikant has the sentiment that all of his songs have to open with SPB's voice. So I mean, what's it about that? I don't think a lot of audience might actually know that.
Yeah, exactly. Even I didn't notice that in between. It's just that I just thought it was like coincidence that every Rajnikant movie has at least one song from SPV. But it was more my parents that told me that this sort of like in Tamil they say இது ஒரு கலாச்சாரம் மாதிரி எல்லா ரஜினிகாந்த் படத்துலயும் for every Rajnikant film there should be at least one SPV song, preferably the intro song. And from what I've seen, apparently like Rajnikant believes that if SPB should sing at least one song in his movie for that movie to like become a commercially good film. Yeah, and this is noticeable even like say Basha where he sang the Yettukulla Manusha Vaazhva Pilichuko, that song, and Autokaran as well. And even Padayappa he sang Impere Padayappa. But for some reason he didn't sing. I don't think he sang a song with Baba, and Baba wasn't as good as like in terms of commercial aspects. It wasn't as good as it's all that celebrated right now.
At the time it came out, yeah.
Yeah, but although it's like much more celebrated right now, and then from there, Shivaji, Indiran, and all those movies, SPB has been an integral part of the music, and of course, like, and what's really special, I believe, right now is it's not just for us, even like the 14 or 13-year-olds right now. They obviously know Rajinikanth as one of the biggest idols of Tamil cinema, and that's the reason they also know SPB is because SPB has pretty much sung for like all Rajinikanth films. Take even Darbar or Peta for that fact.
Yeah.
He sang Maranamas and Chumakri, which were like on top of the chart for like almost a month. So everyone knows that, and everyone knows this guy, this singer as a person. And I don't think any other singer or any other artist for that fact would get that amount of recognition for like 45 years. That's just insane in my opinion. That's what kind of makes me so like amused, and how can this person even be like this?
Yeah, I think I was having another conversation with a friend, and that's when he told me that we're actually lucky to be alive during his glorified period of music. And I think for a long time I took it for granted. I mean, there were a lot of songs that I didn't know, and I think that's when you sort of look back at the kind of variety he's given us. I think he's given us from every mass song to every song full of melody, and every song full of fear and excitement. And I mean, the variety he's given is like incredible, and I think that's something which has always kept him going in his own field, and I think very, very unbeatable in his field and what he does.
What's amusing is even at this point, even when he was like 30 years old, like 35 years old, he used to like do those slight changes, and he used to like the signature move used to be there in all of the song. And even when he was like 75, 74, like 73, like the same voice, the same signature, it's still there. And I don't. That's just. This is unbelievable, the way someone could do that for 35 years straight, and the way the modulation and the way the variety of songs that they could sing. That's kind of, it's just insane.
Yeah, and I think our parent generation have been extremely lucky to be witnessing some of the best songs of the period.
Yeah.
And I think.
Yeah. So also another thing that speaking about our parent generation and how like SPB has been an integral part of their lives as well. I've heard from my parents that there's been like a few films that are more focused on like say the lead character being a musician or a singer. And if I don't remember, if I don't forget, I think it's the movie Barumayin Niram Sivappu. I don't think, because I remember my parents telling me, and I think this is a movie where Kamal Hassan is a singer, and all the songs in the movie were exclusively sung by SPB, if I'm not wrong. If I'm right with my memory, that's what my parents told me. And that's just kind of insane how a music director could bank all of his songs for a movie on this one person, and he could be confident that it could perform well. And that sort of confidence is something people had only in a very few artists, and I believe SPB is probably one among the very few of them.
Yeah, I think I think much later then came acting for him, which he was also extremely good at.
Yeah.
And I think we were also discussing a number of movies he's a part of right before this call, and I think he's
Yeah.
played comical roles. He's played.
Even for that fact, it's something that not a lot of people know. There's a film called Name, which released in the year 2009, and he had negative shades in the movie. He played a bank officer, if I'm not wrong, and he played that role so beautifully. Like it was more of an emotional negative role, like a character that has negative shades, but the character is also kind of guilt tripped. He knows that he's on the wrong side, but he's just like forced to be on the wrong side. It was that kind of role, and he just portrayed his emotions beautifully. And that was honestly the first film I watched, seeing him as an actor. And honestly, if I didn't know the fact that he was a singer, I'd probably think he's like his main is an actor in this industry, and he's been an actor.
But yeah, I mean, so we were discussing that, but I think there's also one aspect which has been like fairly untouched in our conversation so far, and that's SPB outside of Tamil Nadu. I think he's done a lot for the Telugu film industry. He used to dub for Kamal Hassan for his movies, and also sang a lot of songs for him there. And I think coming to Bollywood also, he has had a good career in Bollywood as well. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. I just believe that Bollywood is, as someone that was born in Chennai, like pretty much living his life watching Tamil movies and not knowing much of Indian cinema, I can see that in my household, my parents used to even play SPB's Hindi songs. The Tere Mere Beech Mein, if I'm not wrong, that's the song that my parents used to love. And what's even more interesting is how SPB was the go-to guy for Salman Khan in his 90s. And Salman Khan wanted SPB to be the face of his all of his films music. And so it's not just actually like Rajinikanth or Kamal Hassan or any Tamil actor or like Telugu actor. It's also Salman Khan and other Bollywood actors that have looked up to SPB as one of their biggest inspirations in music. And I believe that's what stands out. I was watching this reality show like probably yesterday or something on Facebook, and SPB was the chief guest, and SPB specifically said that when he was a college student studying engineering, he used to cycle to his college every day, and he used to stop his cycle in the middle of the road and to some Mohammed Rafi song on his playlist, and he used to cry for no reason. He said he used to cry for no reason, no specific reason. It's just the way he sang the song. And SPB specifically mentions that there's nobody else that could have sung this song like this. So for some artists that comes from South India and goes to Bollywood itself, it's a big thing because of the language barrier that exists.
Yeah.
But more than language barrier, singing the songs to perfection, and more importantly, taking artists from that field or that language as an inspiration, and being able to relate to those artists is a whole new field, I believe, which is kind of exclusive to people that are so well versed in music. And I believe SPB was obviously one of them. Which is honestly kind of what makes me more inspired to even listen to Bollywood songs for that fact, because I know there's so many songs out there that none of us know of, especially from the 90s, 80s, and 70s that we need to listen to. Yeah, and talking about like SPB in different industries, SPB had a really good stint in the Telugu industry, obviously because if I'm not wrong, he has Telugu background.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we said he dubs for Kamal Hassan's Telugu movies, which is insane by itself because a singer actually being a voice actor, it's just how well versed he is with every single aspect of the movie making. Like he's a good actor, he's a good singer, but he's also a good dubbing artist for other actors. He's able to portray the emotion so well to an extent that even as Telugu audience, I've had friends who say that they wouldn't know if it was actually SPB or like Kamal dubbing, because that's how seamlessly his voice blends in with all the actors. SPB was the one that dubbed Dasavadaram in Telugu. I still don't believe that, because I thought Kamal Hassan was the only person that can do 10 different voices like that. But SPB did 7 different voices for that movie.
Apparently,
Huh?
he did 3 roles for the Tamil version of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought all 10 was Kamal's. I,
I,
I would I wouldn't know that. I honestly thought it was. I wouldn't be surprised if he did dub for like Tamil version too, because the way he makes different like apparently he's also good at mimicry. So I was going through Instagram. I was going through a bunch of celebrities who posted their tributes for SPB, and one of them mentioned that SPB and him had such a good time at the studio, singing, jamming, and also mimicking and imitating other artists who sing. So I wouldn't be surprised if SPB dubbed even the Tamil version for that fact, because we honestly wouldn't know.
like coming
Yeah.
back to where you're from and where you currently are, how is music perceived abroad? I mean, I know that Indian music is a big deal
Yeah.
outside of India, because there's always this fear of losing out on culture and tradition. That there are a lot of events which go on, a lot of gatherings
Yeah.
and cultural events. So how does it get viewed there? And
I'd say Indian music or any music for that. Indian music is relatable to an extent where we had a COVID group back in March for all the people living in the US in the Eastern US region, because people wanted to like communicate and like about groceries and how the lockdown's gonna be. It was just a need of the hour WhatsApp group that was created for this purpose of COVID. And the group was pretty much dead after like a month, and the group's been dead for 3 months because there's not much that people have just moved on with their lives.
yeah,
But what's amusing is a dead group was revived 3 months later by someone who sent 2 hours of SPB songs as a tribute to SPB. So basically, a group which was dedicated for COVID was revived by one man who sung 40,000 songs, and that's just remarkable in my opinion, because I don't think people of like different ages, people of different age groups, people even living all across the world, they would relate to this on such a level. And so SUV is more of like a cultural icon for people living here, because they believe like listening to songs and singing them is a form of cultural identity, and preserving the fact that preserving your culture, which is the most important thing. Uh, and also another thing is, if you're gonna look at cultural events that happen here, like for say Diwali or Pongal or any festival, they're always like karaoke nights. They're always like bands coming and singing, and you notice that at least 85% of the songs are are sung by SPB, at least in one language. Like that's the sort of influence that he's had not only abroad but also within the country in terms of the language that he was singing in. That's what kind of inspires me and pretty much everyone else so much about him.
yeah, I think the fact that you said that 85% of the songs which people perform are sung by him. I think we don't realize it at that point, right? We've taken it we've taken it for granted all this while, and I think it's social media and Facebook posts which keep are like reviving stories of him, or reviving
Yeah.
a lot of anecdotes of him, and the number of songs he sang. I think all that's coming and popping up on my feed now. And like I said before, like the variety he's given to us, like I didn't know he sang a lot of songs, to be honest, and I came to know, I think, 2 days ago.
But what really stands out to me as like this man who's obviously one of the best singers we've ever seen. The way he respects his fellow artists is what truly inspires me. Because I remember there was this show where he performed Ela Nila, and there was this one part where the flute misses notes, and so it was like 5 seconds of like just silence because the flute missed out on his notes, and he basically covered it with his voice, and he continued singing the entire song. But after the song, he basically called out the flautist, and he said, "Hey, he's an excellent artist, but I was just unfortunate that he missed out on a few notes because it's really hard." And apparently, that song took 23 takes at a studio back then. So he made him play the flute again for that song, just to make him feel better and just to give the audience a sense of how hard it is, and just to give an audience a sense of how beautiful this song is and how hard it is to play. So, like college or anything, the sort of respect that you have for other people around you, that's something that's truly that just doesn't age. So that's something I would always learn from him.
A part of me also feels extremely guilty for not appreciating him enough while he was still there. A lot of reasons, mainly because he's just been a part of our life, and he's been a part of music that we've all just taken so lightly.
Just that he's been a part of the industry. It's just like probably a God's gift that he was just tailor made for this industry, like, and for all of us, and the way that he used to entertain. I just believe he was tailor made for this. Like that was his purpose of being in the industry, to be like the nicest guy alive, and also entertaining us, which he definitely did. And this coming from someone who was born 35 to 40 years after he started his career. So I don't even think like we're qualified enough to talk about him like this.
Yeah.
But it's
Right. So we're almost hitting the timestamp on our episode, but we didn't want to keep it short, and we didn't want to talk about our favorite moments of this legendary singer we've been discussing for the past few minutes. But it's been great having insights from someone.
yeah, it's pretty much about me trying to go back and rewatch all of his movies, especially because I just believe that he was so underappreciated as an actor, especially. So I probably go back, rewatch Kadalan, I rewatch Nanayam, I rewatch Dasavadaram's Telugu version, even though I don't know a single word of Telugu, just for the fact that SPB's voice resonates in that movie. And I believe that even if like all this has happened, his legacy is gonna live on, and we're still gonna be fanboys and fangirls even 40 years later, hopefully, if we're alive, enjoying and listening to his music as good as we would right now, or as good as our parents would be back in the 90s or 80s.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we also consider ourselves extremely lucky to be a part of his musical journey. And so it's been wonderful having you on the show. And most importantly,
Thank
it's
you.
been a really fun conversation. And as much as it's been very disheartening speaking about it, I think it's also the way we need to celebrate music and celebrate a person's life. And
Yep.
yeah.
Thank you so much for having me here, Kartika. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it was just a fangirl moment, as we previously said. I loved talking about someone that I've idolized in this industry. And thank you so much for having me here, and thank you so much for giving me a nostalgic ride.
Yeah. Thank you guys. And do
Thank
watch
you.
our other episodes, which are going to be scheduled the coming week. And until then, we'll see you next time.